We are live on TuneIn and YouTube, and the mics they're scalding hot. They're about to get scalding hot with the Ragin Cajun, the Harvey Keitel of political strategists, James Carville. Fantastic. My brother, I called you the Ragin Cajun, the Harvey Keitel of political strategists. Is that okay? Has anyone ever said that to you? You ever had that intro?
Actually, not. I call myself the Agent Cajun, but if you want to call me the Ragin Cajun, you can't. Getting any younger.
Hey, man, there's a lot of fire there. Thank you so much for doing this. Let's jump right into it, man. The meeting between Trump and Zelensky on Friday, you said, man, that boy ain't right. And then, but you said he ain't right. You said he ain't right because you looked at splotches on his hands and you said that's a sure sign of syphilis. Now, were you joking or?
That is a possible indication for syphilis, all right? He's obviously had a pretty sudden deterioration, but there's a way that we can clean this up. On January the 17th, 2017, Keith Schiller and two other goons broke into the office of Trump's physician, a GI doctor by the name of Dr. Bornstein, and without Dr. Bornstein's permission, confiscated Trump's health records. And Dr. Bornstein is now deceased, unfortunately. But we don't know why would he send people to his physician's office to confiscate his records. Then we find out some months ago he had red splotches on his hand. I pointed that out in an earlier video. And I called 3 or 4 doctors and said, if you saw that, didn't say I can't diagnose it, but one of the things you would look for is syphilis. So there's something about his health that he doesn't want us to know, obviously. Secondly, he had something that could be an indication of syphilis. Thirdly, he's obviously had mental deterioration, of which any number of physicians would tell you it is a manifestation of long-term syphilis. So
so you're serious about this?
I'm just asking questions, but there's a lot of evidence that points from one in a certain direction that you have to ask these questions. Where are you? Release those health records you stole from your doctor.
Now, but if I know you might also want to be getting under his skin a little bit. This is not a man he didn't release his taxes. He didn't release his medical records. He doesn't like being told by anyone in any type of authority that you need to comply like other people and do it this way. That's what he's resistant to. But I thought you were just poking the bear. You called him a fat blanking slob with a whale body and the whole thing. And now are you trying to get under his skin or do you really think it might be?
I can't. So Billy, let me be clear. I can't stand him.
I'm aware.
All right. And any time that I get to mock him, is there
anything you like about him? Anything?
He seems to be, his wife won't get in the same zip code with him, so I don't know what that is.
Wait a minute. She was smiling. I think she was smiling during the inauguration on the dance floor.
Okay.
She seemed to come around a little.
If I got one picture of a smile, I can smile anytime I want to. That don't mean anything.
Let me see.
But I'm just saying, if he could clear this entire little dust up, why would you break into your own physician's office and have somebody steal your health records? Maybe there's an explanation for it. I don't know. And by the way, his internist was a GI doctor. I don't know what that means. But
yeah. Well,
supposedly he's got some odor problems. I know that.
But your wife, now does your wife, you're one of the greatest bipartisan marriage in America is James Carville, Mary Madeline. Does she like him at all? Does she support him? Did she vote for him?
Billy, one thing I have a rule that I follow to the nth degree. I never speak for my wife because that can only lead to bad things.
You don't talk politics at all with her?
I don't speak. I don't ever say what she thinks.
Right.
If she wants to say what she thinks about a given topic, that's her prerogative.
But do you talk politics with her? Do you guys speak about the current administration and debate between the two of you, or
I
not?
mean, again, that don't, we
No.
talk, we're married, we obviously talk about a variety of things, but I really, her business is not my business, and my political business is not hers. Hers is not mine. But
Got
that's
it.
just it worked. We've been married for shit 25, well, I don't know, 20, whatever, 1993.
Lot longer than that. Say that's you're looking at about 33 years.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna try to make it to the end here, but so far so good.
Fantastic. All right, let's go to that meeting. We're looking at Trump. We're looking at Zelensky in there. What is that? A Cabernet? A Pinot? What are you having right there? Little red wine glasses.
That's a cab.
Beautiful. Cabs are a little heavy for me.
Yeah.
I don't support the French in everything, but I do love their Bordeaux's. I'm going to have to say that.
I'm having a nice Saint Julien right now.
Oh, a
It's kind
Saint
of
Julien.
like
Oh,
or something like that.
all the money you've made out there, you deserve it, sir. Okay. Here's my take. What do you think about? I think Trump got super irascible. He got under his skin because J.D. Vance. Now, remember, I'm going to set this up by saying, just weeks ago, a reporter asked Trump, is J.D. Vance the future of the party? Is he, is he coming in after you? Is that what? And Trump said, no. He shut that down right away. And in this meeting, JD started to post up against Zelensky, and it started to look like the two of them were squaring off chest to chest, and those were the two leaders in the room. Trump didn't like that. He turned around, and to squash JD, he's the one who became a little extra aggressive with Zelensky. Did you see any of that playing out in there?
I saw that. Now, again, there are a couple of questions that come to mind. I could be wrong. I don't recall, and I've heard other people make the same observation of a vice president being in a meeting with the president and a foreign leader.
Right.
That's yeah. I'll tell you I think that Vance is probably the cutout guy for the Russians, and they wanted him in the meeting, and he was more, if possible, he was a bigger Putin sycophant than Trump was. So I don't know, but anybody with a questioning mind would say, well, what's going on here? Because something ain't right with Trump for sure, and something is not right with the relationship between the current White House and the Kremlin. I can assure you that. It's not right. You got people speaking up. You're starting to see even some Republican senators, which are Senator Wicker from Mississippi, are starting to say, what's going on here? Senator Langford from Oklahoma. There's something weird going on here, and I don't sense that it's anything any good.
Yeah, well, what is we're talking to James Carville here, the legendary political strategist. What do you think, what is happening here? There seems to be, we're giving air cover to Putin in a big way. We're giving him air cover and helping him voting with China and Russia
Right.
in the UN Security Council.
Yeah, China, North Korea, and Belarus.
And giving him an exit out of this thing, giving him cover, because I would assume we're going to get something out of it. What is it, if you were to think of this new multipolar, foreign policy?
You say we.
We, the United States, by our representatives, Donald Trump.
They're not. Look, I think Trump is in this for himself. I think he'll get something out of it. What could we get out of it? Russia, as John McCain is right, it's a gas station masquerading as a country. They got nothing we want. They got a crap economy. They got low economic output. You want a Russian watch? You want a Russian car? I don't think you do. I mean, we can make our own vodka, make good vodka in Boston, Texas now, better than any vodka they make in Russia. But I don't know, but I don't think there's anything in there for we, not we, Kemosabe, is him. Now,
Yeah.
what he's getting, well, I'd love to
But
know.
if you just put on a different hat, like, okay, now let me just really try to see where the advantage is. There's just none. You're seeing nothing. There's, I mean, maybe it's, the Bering Straits. There's a trade route that's going, maybe up in the north, and the Russians have 70 ice cutter ships, and we have 2 in America. Maybe there's a deal to be done there on
I,
trade.
I,
Maybe there's
I,
something
I,
we get out of this.
I can't imagine what Russia has that we would want. Like I say, they can't make anything. They got aging population. They're to call the North Koreans because they're running out of conscripts and they don't want to draft people in urban areas. That their economy is shot. Their reserves are shot. I have no idea why we're siding with Russia, North Korea, Belarus, but that's the neighborhood that we're running in right now. I'd rather go to France or Germany or Japan or South Korea or New Zealand or Australia or Nigeria or Brazil or South Africa or anywhere, but go to those places. But you got to ask yourself that what could they possibly give us that we want?
I'm struggling myself. You said Democrats. Your overall recipe for the Democrats right now is to do nothing and sort of let Trump hang himself. That everything he's doing is going to blow up in his face. The Republican
Blowing up
Party
right
will
now.
will implode.
Blowing up right now.
Bernie Sanders doesn't agree with you. He says, in fact, the problem is the Democrats have been playing dead for too many years, need to be more active. Can you elaborate a little bit on what it is, how it is that you take down Donald Trump?
Well, the first thing is that there's a timetable, and playing possum, is to be, I think, a smart strategy. And they have to pass reconciliation, but most importantly, they're going to have to come to the Democrats for the debt limit. By the way, have you looked at the economic numbers lately?
Well, I can.
I have. The Atlanta Fed has now said we might have negative growth in the first quarter of this year. Have you looked at the stock market lately? I have. Have you looked at the unemployment claims lately? I have. Have you looked at what the ramifications of his tax cuts are going to be on the federal deficit? A lot of people are looking at that.
4.5
It,
trillion.
yeah, 4.5 trillion. And now you have Elon Musk saying Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. There's a lot of people in on this Ponzi scheme. So what I'm saying is the Democrats just lay back, let them go. We got some big events coming up in our political calendar. Mark, April 1st, Wisconsin Supreme Court. Really critical is the first Tuesday in November is Virginia governor. Would you like to estimate the federal employee turnout in Northern Virginia? I think you're
150,
going to,
150,000 people, probably.
yeah,
More?
yeah, yeah. Another thing, Billy, that I heard today, you, you know how much many more federal employees are today than there were in 1965?
How many?
None. None. All right. That's not, we're sort of taught to think it's this big bloated personnel operation. If you fired every federal employee, if you just stopped, you didn't pay anybody, it'd be 6% of the total budget. I mean, this is not working. It's not gonna work. We don't have any power. They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the courts, they have the presidency. All right, go get them, boy.
What when the Democrats went wrong? All right, I mean, the Democrats have done a nice job lately. I mean, look, I'm a super up the middle independent guy here, but it seems that they've done a nice job of owning some mistakes, letting the progressive far left of the party come in with some crazy,
Right, right.
so far so that the center left got almost eradicated. They were silenced. Do you see the same thing happening now where the far right is kind of silencing the right center? And how do we get the right or left center angry enough to be heard and to be accounted for, and we get someone who's not extreme?
So Republicans, they want everything, okay? Landslide, I don't think so. All right. Understand, we played the Super Bowl with our seventh string quarterback, and we lost by a point and a half. We actually picked up a house seat.
Is that what you called Kamala, your seventh string quarterback?
Yeah, well, there's six people that would have been. And she ran, she did better than people thought. We didn't even have a candidate. We got so much talent in the Democratic Party right now. It's staggering.
But why didn't anyone stand up? You were the first one to say after Joe Biden.
No, I don't
I'm
know.
impressed by that.
I wish they would have. I think it's a really, the way that we went through our nominating process was really tragic, I thought.
I thought that what happened, tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm right here. What happened is Joe Biden implodes on June 27th in that debate, and then Kamala rallies the Black Caucus, and she gets them behind her first, and now she's got 100 and however many members behind her, and nobody like Josh Shapiro or Pritzker or any of these other, Phil Murphy, any of these other people thought, oh, geez, if the Black Caucus is entirely behind Kamala, everything that we are as liberals and Democrats, there's no way that I'm going to go and challenge her. And they let her do a land grab, and that killed everybody.
So if you remember, on July 7th, I wrote a piece in the New York Times, said Biden should drop out. We should have a series of 4 town halls across America with President Obama and President Clinton moderating the town halls, and they invite 6 people, and then go to Chicago with an open convention. Had we done that, we'd have gotten 53 and a half. It wouldn't have been close.
It would have been a reality show the whole summer.
But by the time, so it was July the 21st when Biden got out. And you're right, the Harris people, Bakari Sellers, who's a state representative from South Carolina, was bragging about how they shut down any contested convention crap. Well, they did, and that elected Trump. I would have loved to have seen Presidents Obama and Clinton do 4 town halls. One in, the Northeast, one in the South, one in the Midwest, one in the West. I don't know. You could figure it out. It wouldn't be that hard. And we would have had a hell of a thing. And by the way, maybe Harris would have won. She'd have been a much better candidate. She'd never run for, well, if you count running for vice president, which really doesn't count. She never won an election outside of California. I thought it would have been a much better system. But by that time, and I think the convention started something like the 15th, 16th, or 17th of August, there wasn't an appetite to, let's just go ahead and do it. So, but it was this country, I don't think, wanted to elect Donald Trump, but and then they asked Harrison on The View, the money question, what would you do different than Biden, which 70% of people didn't even want to run. He said, I can't think of anything, which was, to say the least, a pretty disastrous answer.
Yep. But look, Obama agreed with you. Your idea was great. You came out right away and said mini primaries. This is Donald Trump loves being the center of the circus. He's the P.T. Barnum.
The center of everything.
He likes being the center. This would have been a reality show.
Everything.
A reality show in 4 different parts of the country where you have a nominating process, and then you actually go to a convention, and it's not just a pageant, it's an actual nominating event, and they give their closing remarks, and people vote, and this and that. But why did they give in to Kamala? Was it because the Democrats have played too much identity politics?
So, Billy, I don't know who they are. Okay, there's no
they is Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and all the rank and file kind of fell in behind us.
Let's back up a second, okay? By the time Pelosi and Schumer both went to Biden, sometimes before that, and basically said you got to drop out. By the time that he actually dropped out, it was reasonable for people to say look, we just don't have time. She's the vice president. The, Joe Biden has endorsed her. And there was no appetite on July the 21st to take it any further. People are like, well, Biden's out now, we got a chance. And there was a kind of somewhat of a euphoria in the party after that. But the, again, no one was more for an opening the process than I was. I wanted to open it the year
Right away.
before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, but by the time he did, there just wasn't an appetite for it.
How mad were you when you know? I mean, you're watching everybody say that he's fine, and Joe Biden behind closed doors, he's cognitively, he's brilliant in meetings, and sometimes he stumbles in public. Don't you know that's a load of shit? You knew it, right?
I had people. I mean, I knew people that saw it, but I'm 80 myself. Okay, you can't beat this shit. It's undefeated.
But everyone's 80 is a little different. Like Trump's 80 is. I know you don't
Yeah,
like him, but he's
look, he was.
he's got a lot of
It was
energy.
obvious he's lost. It's the solo. It's obviously he's lost 3 or 4 steps. I was for it. I don't know what you're asking me. I said he should. I was saying it back in early 2023.
Yeah. You're sharp
Um,
as a tack at 80. But you got to get the future together
I
here.
can't do a schedule like I used to.
Your buddy Bill Maher is peddling John Fetterman as the future of the party. Someone like that who's like an everyman, the whole thing. I think he's like the Adam Sandler of politicians. Come on, man. Take that
I mean,
sweatshirt off.
I don't want to kill him. Look, we have so much talent. It's just breathtaking, the talent we have.
Who do you like?
I like 7 different people. Okay, I want them to go out and do debates and do town halls because when people think Democrats, they think we're old and we urban. And the truth of the matter is, the party is just busting with talent. And by the way, at the congressional level, at the Senate level, at the gubernatorial level, everywhere. I mean,
Who's
some
your
of these people.
favorite governor? Shapiro? You like Shapiro?
I could, if I say one, I don't say another. I could tell you that Pritzker, Whitmer, Bashir, Shapiro, Westmore, I could go on, are like world-class talent. I mean, world-class. But no one sees them, all right? They're, but they're going to be on the playing field, but at least I suspect most of them are going to be on the playing field in look in the Senate, Ruben Gallego, Chris Murphy, Raphael Warnock. I mean, these are not, good thing. These are like any of these people I name have the potential to be a Clinton or an Obama. That's how good they are. I'm not saying that you look at somebody in AAA and say, hey, they're going to be Otani or something like that. But what I'm saying is these are people that have really, really deep and profound political skills, and let's let them go out there and strut. That's not up to let them strut. Let them people see them. They'll blow you away.
James Carville on Hot Mics with us right now. James, you know what I think people's frustration is, and certainly it's mine. Where's the principle over power? It seems to me whatever party it is, no one does anything for principle anymore. I always thought term limits for everybody in Congress, Senate, everywhere would be a good idea because they just hang on to power so long that literally right now I'm seeing John Thune, who's the Senate Majority Leader, fairly moderate guy. Same with Mike Johnson. They're not doing anything or saying anything because they don't want to be outside the den when it comes to power. And it happens on the other side, too. You just let stuff go, or you have your conversations whispering in the hallway, but publicly, you're not standing up for what is right over what holds on to power.
Well, so what they would say, in defense, is, look, this is what my voters want. I'm representing the voters of South Dakota. The voters of South Dakota want me to do whatever Trump tells me to do. Mike Johnson says, look, I got to do what my caucus wants. I got a two-vote majority. I mean, I don't think much of Mike Johnson to say the least, but I would give you what he would say, or what Thune would say, or what someone else would say. And and everybody says, so you have to be loyal. What are you loyal to? You're loyal to your conscience? Are you loyal to your voters, to your supporters? The number one principle in politics is winning the goddamn election.
At all
Then you do
costs.
everything after that. Okay, you do whatever you have to do to win the election, and then you can have all of the principle you want.
Got it.
But and that's one thing that Democrats, there are a lot of Democrats who they don't think this anymore. If we lose on principle, we'll feel good about ourselves. No, you won't. You'll feel like shit if you lose. That's why the movie is called "Winning Is Everything." Stupid, because it is.
How often do you talk to your old friend Bill Clinton?
Periodically, I mean, he'll call me every now and then if he's off talking to him.
You ever, when you look back at your time at your time with Clinton, did you ever think, well, honestly, recently, Monica Lewinsky's out there. She's doing podcasts. She's launched her own. She said he
Right?
should have resigned. He should have resigned then for perjury. Do you think he should have? Did you ever tell him to?
Oh no. I mean, look, anybody could have. I'm going to. This shit was what 27 years ago. I mean, what is it about Clinton that people didn't like? The peace or the prosperity? There's something that really pissed people off because it was one of the two. You were making money and you wasn't getting your ass shot off. It was the '90s was probably the most golden time in modern American history.
But do you believe the president of the United States, and now we have Trump, the president has it's incumbent upon him to set a moral tone or to set
Uh,
any other tone than peace, prosperity, and business?
Billy, I went through this whole thing in the '90s. The public said, "Don't resign. We support you. If you want to supplant you." He left office with a 71% approval. All right, this is a conversation that's just not going to go very well. I mean, it's not like people didn't know, and people said, "Okay, he did it. He was a great president," but they didn't want him to resign.
Is he the
He
best
had
political
massive,
operator you've ever seen?
yes, might be the best president I've ever seen.
By far the
But
best negotiator, the best. I mean, he was
I mean, and the heartbreaking thing is I see what's going on in the Middle East now, and he and my other client, the Prime Minister of Israel at the current time, Ehud Barak, they gave him a deal that you couldn't even believe it was so good. And had they done that, and whenever there is peace, if there's ever peace, it's going to be just what they outlined. All right. It's tragic to see that because it was an opportunity that the Palestinians had to have everything they wanted, the capital in Jerusalem, recognition, the militarized zone, all the land, we're going to give all land back. And I've talked to some like really friends, like, people I met, like Palestinians, said, when you read it, James, it just makes you want to cry. And Arafat said, well, if I sign that, I'll be dead. Well, you're dead anyway. So, Sadat signed the Egypt agreement and he's dead, but then nobody getting shot on the Israeli Egypt border, are they?
no.
I mean, which, yeah.
James, I got a couple quick questions for you. Tim Walz said today he might run for president in 2028. Would you tell him
Who?
not? Tim Walz.
All right.
You interested
I,
in Tim going further? Or you think it's done?
I mean, who am I to tell the governor of Minnesota that be done if he wants to run? Great, but I'm gonna tell you what: when you get out there, it's a slippery slope because there's gonna be some really wicked pitches that are gonna come by you because there's gonna be some real talent in that race. Whew.
Should be this
And
time. What about Kamala for California governor? Some think she's going to run, and maybe Rick Caruso, big
you
developer around
know,
here, run.
I guess I don't live in California, but it'd be a it's going to be a competitive race. I can tell you that. I don't think California is in a mood to have any kind of coronation. But look, with the exception of, well, she never really developed a message. and that terrible appearance on I guess they call it The View.
Yeah.
She was a a competent presidential candidate.
The View. You ever been on there with those ladies? I'm sure they.
Yeah, I've been. It's been a while, but yes, it's a, you know what? People, I like it. I think it's got a lot of energy. I mean, they're chatty, but it's. I was been on there a couple of times. It's been around a book or something like that, but people watch it and pay attention to it.
Yeah, they've had their following for a while. Well, I think. The final one is Andrew Cuomo. He's back in the race, baby. He's going to run for mayor of New York. You think that's a good one? A good choice? He's tough.
I believe in redemption. Because
if Marion Barry can get redeemed and run for mayor of Washington, D.C. after cracking hookers.
My daughter went to college in upstate New York. Mm-hmm. And that town, Geneva, New York, in 4 years, the amount that Andrew put into these, mid-sized towns in upstate New York was really something to see. And, they forced him out of Zion. People in New York, and they got to make up their mind. I don't really, but anytime I love comebacks, I love redemption. That's just the nature of me. So I'm glad to see him out there. I will venture a guess and say Eric Adams is not going to be reelected.
No, probably not. I can relate to that, man. I love a comeback too. James Carville, you are the greatest, sir. Thank you so much.
Very energetic, lively interview, man.
I love that LSU hat right there. Great memories. The last time I was down there was a long time ago, but you remember when Britney Spears got married to this guy one crazy night in Vegas? He was an LSU kid. I went down there. It was right after LSU won the national championship. I had to get the interview with this kid, so I bought bacon, egg, and cheese down the street in Kentwood, Louisiana, and I ran to this guy's front door, and he was hungover as can be. I fed him up there. And he had his LSU hat on. You look a little bit like him, except for...
Yeah, Kentwood is about a mile from the Mississippi border.
Yeah, that's some real country down there.
At Tangipahoa Hole Parish. You know who else from Tangipahoa Hole Parish? Kim Mulkey.
Are you following Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? Do you know anything about those two people?
I've heard of them, but I don't know a lot about them.
Oh, it's a dogfight out there. We're turning our attention to it coming up here. But I want to thank you so much. You're an icon, and always just really appreciate your time.
Good talking to you, man. Take care.
Enjoy that Saint-Julien Bordeaux.
All right.
My man, the great James Carville right there. He's a true icon.